Let's talk about your time in Congress just briefly as a member of the subcommittee on immigration. What insights there did you glean on immigration reform? You've mentioned that you've been an advocate for some time, and you did it at a time when it wasn't necessarily as important an issue nationally as it is these days.
Yeah, well, I guess what I would point to is my experience. To some degree, I've got a combination of things that make me a good advocate on immigration reform. One, I've got experience watching the ins and outs of the legislative process. I understand what makes Republicans tick. I understand what makes moderate Democrats, what agriculture people are interested in. You know, serving on the immigration subcommittee and sitting in the White House with a group of advocates those first heady days of 2009 when the president taken over, I was trying to encourage him to move quickly on immigration reform. I think I understand the political imperatives in Washington better, obviously, than anyone else in this race. Secondly, I think I understand better than anyone in this race how to talk the language of the critic that the critic understands. In my congressional district, that includes some very conservative areas of Queens, for example, you know, Howard Beach, Ozone Park, and Glendale. These are places that perhaps the single greatest source of negative mail to me was about the fears that people had about immigration. I've developed a skill set at persuading citizens. I've not been a middle-of-the-road guy. I'm someone who feels very strongly about immigration reform and why it's important, and how to talk to people to bring them around. And the third element I think I bring to this debate that my opponents may not is that I've shown a willingness to stand up and fight. You know, anyone can stand up in front of a city council or stand up in front of a city council district or even stand up in New York City. I've shown a willingness to go into the lion's den, whether it be national shouting TV shows or the floor of the House of Congress or a Judiciary Committee hearing room. Just about everywhere I've had the opportunity, I haven't preached to the choir, I've preached to the lion's den. And so the combination of those things I think makes me a good messenger on immigration reform.
And what are some of the things that you would do essentially within, let's go past 100 days, what would you be doing almost immediately as mayor to make sure that that clarion call is heard?
Well, first, obviously, we'd like this problem to be solved in Washington, but we shouldn't wait for Washington. You know, obviously, I'll be an advocate. I think that the mayor, it's nice that he's advocating on behalf of guns. I think the cultural politics of guns are so deeply baked in Congress, I'm not sure actually it helps for a mayor sometimes to go into some neighborhoods around the city. I would speak from the perspective of the leader of a business, of a city like New York, which is the business capital and financial capital of the world, and explain why immigration reform is so important. From that perspective, my plans to cover the undocumented for health care, I think we'll start a national conversation about who we're really punishing and who we're really helping when we provide health care for the undocumented. I think if I can show in New York City how it saves money and it's the humane thing to do, I think that that'll be something that'll spread across the country. And third, things like finding a smart path on municipal ID, which has eluded New York City for too long. My proposal is different than most. It would combine a municipal ID card with an ATM service for the underbanked, for a discount card for cultural institutions. I want to get the MTA involved, see if they would permit it to be used as a Metro card. The idea is to make it an all-purpose card to destigmatize having it, and that's something that I'll be able to do in my first year.